Hi all, and welcome back to Irish Ian Excels. It's been a couple of days since I made a video, so sorry if you've been waiting. Been back to work after the Christmas, and it's just been busy. So trying to get back into that. A lot to be done, but I am back, and we're going to pick up exactly where we left off. Just on the last video, we started looking at why Excel sometimes feel like it doesn't work, and especially when numbers are actually text. So in this video, I want to explain something else that can be confusing when you start with Excel, and that's why formulas change when you copy them. Once you understand this, formulas will stop feeling random and they'll start to actually feel like you understand formulas. And this is key before we actually start building equal to if and equal to v lookups and all these formulas. And if you don't know what an equal to if and equal to v lookup, and you're just going, okay, he's starting to talk technical jargon, just park that. They're formulas. I'll teach formulas. What I'm trying to say is we're at a point where I'm going to show you something that when we get to explaining formulas and what they are and how they work, you will be able to understand what we're doing. So let's start very simply. What I'm going to do, let's go back to our shopkeeper who has tea and coffee and he has bars, and let's say he has water and he has Fanta. So we'll just go at a few random things there. So now what I'm going to do is just say, again, we'll go back to our inventory and we'll say he has 5, he has 7, 11, 12, and we'll say 6. So it's just random numbers I'm just typing in here for yourself, really. And I showed you before how to do calculations. So let's say this shop owner is saying, how do I know how much my stock is? Well, I showed you how to add A equals to A, or sorry, equals to B1 plus B2. And it's just a continuation of that. Now, I will show you a simpler way of doing this as well in a moment. So that's B4 and B5. Actually, we'll leave the simpler way for another episode because I want to start showing formulas in another episode. And there is a formula that can do this for you. So if we click in up here, this is another key thing to note with Excel. In the cell that we just typed our equals to, and then we did B1 plus B2 plus B3, so on. And again, if you're not familiar with this, you may need to go back to my earlier videos where I explained it, if you're just coming in now and watching this one. But what you'll see is just the total, which is 41, and then up here is our formula bar. This is a good thing to know. In the formula bar, you'll see what you actually typed in. And if you click it, you can see what cells are referenced. And this is very good if you ever build a formula that isn't working or isn't functioning, knowing how to see what it's referencing to. Because it's very handy, for example, if I accidentally typed A1 and you can see, oh, that's not referencing to the right place, let's change it. And that can happen with formulas. I'm um, I'm not advanced as such with formulas. I'm steady with formulas. I know how to do them. I'd probably be of an intermediate to advanced level of Excel. I'll put myself in that bracket. And when it comes to formulas, I do type things sometimes and have to go back and fix them later, which is why I'm showing that. Um, Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control C or right click and copy. And this is the key thing that I want to show in this particular video. You'll see when I copy and I paste the same formula from this cell here, which was B7, and I copy it down to B9. Now our total is 70 instead of 41. Now, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to pause here for about 3 or 4 seconds, and I want you to think. If you look at the formula bar up here, and you look at the formula bar here, let's just see, can you see why this is 70 and this is 41? I'll leave it on this for a second. Okay, so I'm going to explain it. Now, if you got it within those 3 or 4 seconds of that pause, do leave a comment down below and tell me how you came up with your answer. So I'm going to go through it. When you copy a formula in Excel, it assumes if you copy it from here and move it down 2 places, that everything else is also going to move 2 places. So, for example, your B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, you moved it down 2. So, what Excel thinks is, okay, down 2. So, it changes your B1 to B3 because it's going from 1 to 3. It changes your 2 to 4, 3 to 5, 4 to 6, and your 5 to 7, and so on if your formula was longer. So, it's I suppose it's looking at a pattern. So instead of pointing to the cells above it, now it's pointing to the cells just below it. So Excel isn't thinking in totals. It's not thinking in the rows or columns. It's thinking in the relationship between the cells. And it can see that you've moved the formula down to, so it moves everything else down to. Now let's um let's write another formula, or let's use the same one even. And when I copy it, if you want the reference to change and you put it down here, it's not going to change for you. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not going to understand what you're trying to do, and this is very very important to understand for when we get into building formulas in future episodes. It will assume by default that formulas that you want formulas to adjust when you copy them, and that's Excel's default behavior. Now, most of the time, that is what you want, but there's going to be instances, let's say, where you don't want it. So, let's say you have the formula here and you want to move it over here. You don't want it to change. And when you do, it will also, this is another key thing to note. If you move it across and you copy it and you paste it over, it will also move not just in rows, but it will also move in columns. So because you've moved across 3 columns, it's now thinking, oh, well, he's moved the formula over here. Let's reference to E1, E2, E3, E4, and E5, because that's what it does over here. It references to those. So I'll leave it at that for this one, in terms of what I show. In the next video, what I'm going to do is show you how to stop Excel from changing the certain parts of a formula. What it's called locking a cell, and it will give you control over copying your formula or copying what you want to do. And once you understand how to lock a cell or lock a formula, I think formulas for all of you guys will become very predictable instead of frustrating, because I've been there, I've copied something and moved it over and then gone, oh, it's not working anymore. And it is frustrating. Well, I will show you how to fix that as well if you do want your formula to stay the same. But for now, just to recap, what I want you to remember from this one is Excel copies your pattern, not exact cell references as such. So if you copy and you paste something over, it's going to think you moved 2 to the right, so it's going to change your formula to everything 2 to the right. You'll see there, look, the reason this is getting 0, it's referencing D1, D2, D3, D4, and D5. Whereas this one is referencing B1 to B5. So that's all I want you to remember from this one. And in the next one, as I said, we're going to show you how to stop this from happening. Let's say if you put your total here, but you wanted to move it over to here, um, and you just want to copy and paste it without changing anything. So I'll show you how you can do that. For now, guys, that's all for this one. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment down below what you found useful, and don't forget subscribe to the channel. Thank you.